Next is item 9A. This is what we're amending the agenda for, 9A. Discussion and consideration on changing the name of the Judicial Center to the Horace J. Johnson Jr. Judicial Center. Guys, all of you know, I didn't want to start the board meeting off with it, but I wanted to come back to it now. We lost another, and I say another because we lost Almond Turner, who was a pillar of the community also. But we lost another pillar of our community, someone who has done so much for this community. I learned today that back in the 1960s that he was one of the first 5 African-American students to go to Fickwood Elementary School. Judge Johnson has did so many great things in our community, and I think he is definitely worthy of this honor, having his name on the Judicial Center. I would go over his accolades and his accomplishments, but it's so many. I'm gonna wait to read it on Friday at the service. It's just a list of so many things that he has accomplished over his short life here on this side. So I'm gonna open it up for commissioners if you have any questions. Commissioner Edwards.
Sure, Mayor.
I think Commissioner Edwards got you first, Commissioner. Commissioner
Okay.
Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a question, just a comment. Once again, we're talking about a human being that was, like you said, a pillar in our community. And he and I didn't know him that well, but our interactions were always as professional as they could be. And I was always awed by his, the aura about Judge Johnson. And I just appreciate everything he meant to our community, everything he does mean to our community. I had the pleasure of speaking with his kids, one of his sons today, and pass along my condolences. But our community has once again experienced a tragedy and an absolute gaping hole that just will not be filled. So I just want to make those comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Henderson, I'm gonna go up so we don't skip anybody. Commissioner Mason, you have anything?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'm gonna try to get through these comments without actually tearing up. Forgive me if I do. I did know him personally over this last year and a half. This is a very sensitive and touching subject for me to talk about, but I'm gonna try to get through this as professional as I possibly can. Over this last year and a half, I got to know Judge Johnson as a mentor. I got to know him as a pillar in this community. And I got to know him as almost like a father figure to me. And it was challenging when I found out about this information. It was pretty tough for me only because he invested so much in me in this last year and a half that I don't really think too many individuals have in Newton County so far. Being a newly elected commissioner last year, you know, he was the first person that reached out to me and even invited me to my very first event, which is the Washington Street Community Fundraiser. And, you know, he just demanded, he was like, you know, you gotta be here. And I was like, well, you know, okay. He was like, don't worry about paying for your ticket. I just want you to be here. And I said, well, you know, no, Judge Johnson, you can't do that for me. And he was like, no, I want to do this for you because I want to welcome you as a new leader into our community. And I got there and I met so many new people. It was just an extraordinary event. But even after that, he, introduced me to the Kiwanis Club. He introduced me to his mentorship program. Even when Jasmine was pregnant, he would call and, hey, how's Jasmine? We would go to events and we would see each other. Him and Miss Michelle were there. And he was just a major person. So it's hard for me at this point because I'm saddened I didn't get a chance to glean from him more than I did. Just a fair individual, fair person. He loved me. He loved my wife. He loved my kids. And so it's tough for me. And so I think that this will be amazing because I got a chance to see all of the things that he's done in our community, heard about him, found out about him. And so I think this would be a great honor for us to really do that for him. And so please forgive my emotions. But thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So Horace and I met when I first moved to Newton County about 27 years ago, and we had a very deep friendship, Horace and Michelle and their boys. Our kids were pretty close to the same ages, and we raised our kids together and went through them growing up and playing football and going away to college and getting jobs. And so I have it was really tough last Wednesday to get to hear the news. But I want to share something that I think makes this decision to name the Judicial Center after him. Because as you know, we were very short on the funds for the Judicial Center. We only appropriated $7 million in the 2011 SPLOST. And so it cost close to $14 million to build that Judicial Center. And I can say without a doubt that Horace let me know, not once, not twice, but probably weekly, that we needed to get that building finished and finish it the right way. And so I think that it's very fitting that it is named in his honor, because I know it was a labor of love for him to make sure that the building met with his expectations and was completed to the standard of which he expected. And I think he would be really smiling down on us to see that, he would never have expected it to be named after him. But I think the fact that he put so much blood, sweat, and tears of his own into making sure that it was completed and served the people and served for justice and fairness in this county, that I think he would be tremendously proud to be honored in this way. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Ms. Sherman.
Yes, sir.
Well, first of all, I just want everybody to know that I'm totally 100% positively and agree of naming the judicial system after Horace Johnson Jr. I had the pleasure of growing up in the same community. He was going to Washington Street School, and Mr. Johnson, his father, senior, who was the teacher there, who was my math teacher and probably his math teacher too, and Miss Lottie Johnson, who was in the, I think it was 4-H. She was a 4-H director. But make a long story short, and that's when I first, when he got big enough for going to school along with me, I'm a little bit older, knowed him, we went to school together. And I think I would run up to here, and he would probably drive to school with his dad in his car. And so, but later on, through his dad and I, we became good friends, and it lasted a lifetime. In fact, I was one of the commissioners back when Roy Barnes was governor, who asked him for him to be judge here in Newton County. And so I'm gonna say this and let y'all go. I asked him the question. I said, Attorney Jones, he was attorney for the world judge. I said, why do you, a big time district attorney in Atlanta, wants to come down here to Covington, the little small town where you were born and raised in, and be a judge? And I can remember just as if it were yesterday. He said, that's where the opportunity is. And that's my dream, and that's my passion. And so my name, and I think every Democrat who was Democrat at that particular time, during Davis Morgan tenure, signed on, and along with several other people, several other organizations signed on to as well. But and he became our next judge. And I remember seeing him, and we smiled. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You mentioned two individuals, and I was connected very closely to both of them in different ways. Almond Turner, worked with him as a police officer, started in 1979, and that's when I first met him. And he was, I'll say Almond was one of my best friends, and I really do miss him. But in the course of things, I went on to law school and was practicing law and got to know Judge Johnson. And I knew him as an attorney before he got on the bench, but Judge Johnson was one of the best judges there ever was. He was the epitome of statesmanship, professionalism. He would always treat you fair. And I had the privilege of practicing in front of him. I always was glad whenever the calendar came up and I got put on his calendar. And not to say anything bad about the other judges, but Horace was just special in a way. He helped you, and he educated young lawyers in their practice. And he is truly going to be missed, and I think the naming of the Judicial Center after him is an honor well deserved for him.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Curry, he can testify to this. Judge Johnson was such an advocate for the Judicial Center over there. There've been times he demanded that I come over there when we was under construction around 11 or 12 o'clock at night. And he insisted that I go over there and see what was going on. And I did. And he, if you know him, once he made his point, he would sit back and laugh and smile. And that's just his way of conducting business. So I thank all of you. And I know his families thank you guys for those kind words. But I'm gonna call for a vote. I seek a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I would like to make that motion that we name the Judicial Center in honor of Judge Horace Johnson.
Second.
Can Commissioner Schultz, can you state that name, Horace J. Johnson Jr. Judicial Center, please?
Horace A. Johnson Jr. Judicial Center.
Second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Commissioner Schultz and second by Commissioner Cowan. Any more discussion? All in favor?
That's an aye from District 1.
Aye from District 2. I got you. Brian, if you will unmute Commissioner Mason, please. He did say aye. District 3.
Aye from District 3.
Aye from District 4.
Aye from District 5.
Thank you. Damon, would you like to go on record?
Yes, I from District 2.
Thank you, sir. It passes 5-0. Thank you so much.